To all the men and women out there, this might not be you, and that's okay. Even if it is, we can all relate to the occasional insecurity or doubt when it comes to our bodies. So what causes us to have these doubts? And why do we feel like we're always comparing ourselves? Part of getting naked means stripping it all the way down to the core, all the way down to that place we feel vulnerable talking about. Today, I'll be vulnerable for both of us in hopes that we get to a more positive state of mind. So we're here today with Nadia Siswanto at Wild Hope Counseling in Woodland Hills. Nadia, thank you so much for being with us. So before we get started, I was reading your bio and just your process behind naming Wild Hope Counseling. Tell me a little bit about that.
You know, Wild Hope for me, in my definition, is a strong and confident expectation. And so I feel like that's what I bring to my clients when they come to me and they're hurting and alone and they don't feel like anything can change, everything's going to be the same. Then that's what I hold hope for.
So let's just jump right in. We're talking about, the episode that we're doing is Get Naked, but it's about body image and just feeling good in your own skin. I think for me, one of the biggest questions or misconceptions, like, can you describe to me the difference between body image and body shaming?
So they're both related. Body image is how you view your body, and body shaming is a negative label or judgment that you place on your body or someone else's body.
Okay.
So simply said.
And do you think that affects men differently than it affects women?
I think both men and women are affected by body image and body shaming, but women tend to be more affected by body image. I think it's because there's a lot of emphasis in our society, our culture around appearance and how we look. But at the same time, there has been more research for men. And I think the statistic is that 10 million men in the United States at some point in their lives will struggle with a clinically significant eating disorder. And that doesn't even include the men who just struggle with body image, And then I think there was another statistic that said that 43% of men don't like their bodies. So I mean, that's pretty astounding.
Yeah, it is. In my personal life, it's pretty even. I mean, I think that there's a lot of men who struggle with their body image just as much as women. I think a lot of times they don't necessarily want to admit it.
Yeah. There's a lot of shame.
Yeah. Or, it's just not something that is, as popular of a subject. So, right now, like, body image and body shaming amongst women is huge.
Huge.
So it's more recognized. But that was why I wanted to ask, just because it's more recognized doesn't make it necessarily any greater than it is in men.
Right. And I think that's the great thing right now, that they're that we're paying more attention to how these two issues are affecting men as well, because it's not fair that it's not just a women's issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the psychological effects that body shaming has on all of us.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many. Self-esteem. I like to call it self-worth. How you view yourself, and depression, anxiety, over, or I guess obsession around weight and weight loss. And I mean, and then ultimately all of those things could lead to an eating disorder, which eating disorders can be life-threatening. Like, people actually die from these.
Yeah, I think, even just day to day, like, I feel like anxiety is one of the biggest, at least for me. There's just it's not constant, but it's there, like in the anxiety when you walk into a room with of people that you don't know.
Yes.
Or you just feel a little bit uncomfortable and you're thinking, like, what are people thinking or
about me?
What are they looking at right now?
Yeah.
So, what are what's your best advice to maybe either counteract that or promote a more positive mindset for ourselves internally first.
First, yeah, absolutely, because it's all about starting with us, right? And I think my best advice is to be able to start by accepting who you are, regardless of your weight. Like, no matter, like, our weight is going to change throughout our lives many, many times. So we can start loving who we are on the inside first, then that's going to be like the hugest step that we can take to counteract some of this negative body image message.
Yeah. Should we start at a younger age, or what? How do you think that impacts us?
Yes, absolutely. I like the book 100, I think it's 101 Ways to Help Your Daughter Love Her Body. I love what the authors say about what it means to love one's body. Is it okay if I read off a quote from their book? Okay. Being at peace with one's body leaves little room for self-punishment, whether through under or overeating, the use of harmful substances, or engaging in risky behaviors. So I like that quote because it talks about how it's all about that beautiful package. So inside and outside reflect who we are. And I love that.
Yeah. Just in some of the research we've been doing, when it comes to mothers, who have gone through this beautiful process of creating life, it seems like that, coming back from that and finding that confidence is really a struggle. What type of advice would you give for women who, their bodies have changed so drastically in their mind?
Motherhood is like a big transition, and like I said before, like, our bodies are changing, and when you have a baby, your body changes a lot. Yeah, in ways that you're like, oh my gosh, it's so different. If we're not able to love our own bodies, and we're critical of our bodies, then our children, they will start to question their own bodies. So I think, at least for me, and when I work with parents, reminding them of, like, it's important for you to love your body and take care of your body, see your body as a vehicle for your dreams. Because someone out there, your child, is listening to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. To have that sense of, like, I like to call it sort of like self-compassion, when you're able to say, like, hey, like, my body has gone through a lot of changes. It's really amazing that I was able to birth a child. This is amazing. And my body has changed a lot. How cool is this? And I think that's the kind of message that we want to send to our children, that no matter what our body looks like, we respect it, and we can see it not just for its appearance, but also for its function.
Yeah, knowing that you're worthy, that you are worth, you're worth feeling good about your body, and you're worth treating it nicely, and, receiving good compliments and believing them, really taking them to heart. I think it's hard for people to get to that point. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were saying, well, how could a woman not feel beautiful when she's being told, every day by maybe her husband, or, oh, you're beautiful, I think you're beautiful, or I love your body. It's not, and I was trying to explain to them, it's not as easy as it sounds.
Well, it's just like you're saying, like, it's a struggle for you, and it's a struggle for me, and it was a bigger struggle for me many years ago when I was still working through some of my own stuff. There was a point in my life where I thought, like, I was, like, horrible, ugly, like, I couldn't even stand looking at myself. And I look at myself now, and I'm like, wow, like, I really believed those lies, like, really, like, I thought they were true, like 100% true. And even when the people around me who loved me, and I knew, like, why would they be lying? I couldn't believe that, and it like comes down to, like, a much deeper issue than just, oh wow, like, I can't take that in. Like, why is that? For us women, that we really especially struggle with hearing people out and, you know, being able to see ourselves accurately. Oftentimes we see ourselves really skewed,
Yes.
A lot worse than what people view us as.
And why do you think that is?
Well, I think we're also our worst critics.
Yes.
Yes.
I would agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So that's part of it. And I think the messages that we get in society that we're supposed to have a perfect body, have the most perfect personality, and have this whole package together. And then if we engage in the game of being comparing ourselves, then we're like down the drain.
And I think, you know, people are cruel to one another.
Yes.
And even, you know, body shaming right now, like you can almost not escape it.
Yeah.
Whether it's you know, personally, or like you go on Instagram or any social media and you see this beautiful person and all of the comments, I mean, it's so sad. If you just scroll through 10 comments, you're going to see something negative. You know, I think even once you get to that, you know, level where you do feel confident and good about your body, one of the biggest things is, you know, what do you do when you do hear that negative? It's a trigger. You know, for me, it's always a trigger, and I pride myself on, you know, the steps I've taken to be confident and feel good in my skin, but
It
you
hurts
know,
still.
it does. Yeah. Like my legs have always been, you know, my biggest trigger. Like I do not, you know, always love them.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to have them.
Yeah.
But you know, like 3 weeks ago, I actually heard a comment about my legs, and it just takes you back,
Yeah.
like instantly,
Yeah.
down to
yeah.
like ground zero.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
how do you like come back from that and not let it affect you?
Yeah. I would want women such as yourself, all of us, we need to remind ourselves that that is not the truth of who we are. That's first of all, right? Like that your legs are not you. They're part of you, and you are a beautiful person. And I think we need to remind ourselves, like, I am beautiful, and what this person is telling me, like, where is that coming from?
Right.
I think we know that it's really not about us, but it feels very personal
Yes.
in the moment. And I think it's really important that we ask ourselves, like, am I going to choose to believe this statement? Ultimately, it's a lie. And even though it's a lie, we often take it on hook, line, and sinker.
Yes.
It's like truth, 100% truth, right? But we have a choice. And oftentimes, in that moment, we feel like we don't have a choice. So for me, I get to remind women that you don't have to take this on. Like, I like doing affirmations. Have you heard about that before?
I have, but remind me.
Yeah. So, I mean, an affirmation is just a positive statement that you say to yourself. And I think in those moments when we feel triggered, it's really great if we can have something to go to right away. And if we have an affirmation that we can kind of like pull out of our back pocket and remind ourselves, because like we're being spit out with some negative lie, truth that we think it's true, but it's not, right? So we need to like retrain our brain and replace it with something that is actually true and positive. And so I love being able to help women be able to find an affirmation that fits their particular trigger or whatever particular issue that they're working on.
I think that it's sometimes easier to come up with affirmations, you know, for something that you do believe, but the real challenge is coming up for something that is really your trigger, that's really hard for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that.
With affirmations, I think they're more effective when you can be really authentic with them. And even though I like to keep them simple, especially with something where there is a specific trigger, like you struggle with liking your legs, right? So I think it's okay to say, like, I struggle with liking or appreciating my legs, but I am learning to appreciate them, and they allow me to strut around in my fancy heels, something like that. I don't know. So you have to put it in your own words.
I will. When it comes to people in relationships, do you think that by, being comfortable naked and comfortable around each other, just in our own bodies, do you think that that can add to a stronger relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I think no matter what, when we're comfortable in our own skin, and in who we are on the inside and outside, it will positively affect all of our relationships.
Good.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, well, let's end on a positive note.
Okay.
Just as advice, to all of us in our day-to-day lives, how would you suggest that we could promote positive body image, not just in ourselves, but with other people? I think that in order to make a change, we need to make a real effort to share that.
Yeah, I like to say stop focusing on what you hate about your body and instead focus on what you appreciate or like about your body. I don't expect us to go from hating to loving our bodies, so I think it's important to kind of realize that it's a journey. So if we can start by appreciating, then maybe we'll start liking, and then hopefully we'll start loving our bodies.
Yeah, I like that.
And then this is a big one, avoid body talk. In our society, we talk about like, oh, I love your body, you're so thin, you're blah, blah, blah. And we just try to avoid it. A lot of people like make comments about the body, and I just kind of change the subject, try not to make a big deal of it. Be around people who like appreciate you for who you are on the inside, that are a positive influence, and that don't focus on just who you are on the outside. And then lastly, treat your body with kindness and respect. Feed it, keep it active, and listen to its needs.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a perfect way to close.
Yay.
Thank you, Nadia. I'm going to give you a hug.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was good. Thanks. Feeling confident. It's a process that starts inside, but it carries over to so many different areas. Although it might be difficult, try not to think of shopping as that constant reminder of society's unrealistic expectations. Think of it as a time to have fun and enjoy finding something that's perfect for your body. Studies show the more comfortable you become naked, the more you'll want to accentuate those curves or favorite part of your body. And while not everyone can love shopping as much as me, getting naked more often might help you feel better about showing off those clothes. Bottom line, feel good naked, feel good in clothes, and just feel good being you. It will make this next situation such a predicament. I think we've all been here at least once. Hold on, did you say leave the lights on? The bed can literally feel like the only thing in the entire room. You're frantic, trying to find any piece of clothing to cover yourself. Think about how much more fun, maybe even adventurous you would be if you weren't always thinking about hiding those problem areas during sex. Think about how much more you'll actually enjoy yourself. Isn't that the point? And ladies, ask just about any man and he'll tell you, the more confident and comfortable you are with your body, the better any intimate experience will be. I've said it before, we feed off of confidence. Don't let anyone take that from you, especially in the bedroom. So go get naked and allow yourself to enjoy feeling good about your body, because you are worth it. Hey, I said leave the lights on.